In this video, I'm looking at Psalm 51 and especially the first 7 verses. What I'll be doing is reading the Hebrew with a grammatical analysis of the Hebrew text, along with a brief commentary. The background is that God is calling Israel to court, and God Himself is the judge, and Israel basically is the defendant. So God is going to bring Israel into a courtroom situation. What is going on seems to be that there's a lot of sacrifices going on, but the life of obedience to the Lord is not being lived out. And so it's the same theme that we face today in the church. Uh, People can go to church and carry out religious duties, but not practice what Jesus taught, which is to love one another and to keep the unity of the body of Christ and so forth. So this is what we call a rib, R-I-B, which is a courtroom scene where the Lord is bringing Israel to court. And really, it's a text for all of us to be true to our religious practices in obeying what the Lord taught and what He teaches. So we begin Mizmor LaAsaph, a psalm of Asaph. El Elohim, Adonai diber vayikra aretz, mimizrach shemesh ad mevoho. That is a psalm belonging to Asaph. God, the Lord, has spoken and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto its going down. So God now has spoken. Diber, He is the judge. Diber is the PL perfect third masculine singular from davar, to speak. And called the earth. Vayikra is from kara. It's the cow imperfect third masculine singular from kara. Called the earth. So really, this is being applied to the whole earth, this courtroom scene, from the rising of the sun unto its going down. In other words, God is the one that is constantly surveying the earth and bringing it into judgment, into His tribunal, seems to be the thought. And it's going all throughout the world. So then we move on to verse 2, Mitzion Miklal Yofi, Elohim Hofia, that is, from out of Zion, the perfection of beauty. God has shone forth. Hofia is from the root Yafa, to shine forth. Historically, it was a pei vav verb, and here we have a hifil perfect third masculine singular from Yafa, to shine forth. So God has shone forth, and He's constantly showing forth what He wants in the human soul by shining forth, so that everyone is understanding that by their conscience and by what the Lord is seeking to teach. And then He continues, verse 3, Yavo Eloheinu va'al Yecharash, Eish lefanav tochel, Sevivav nishara me'od. Yavo, the Lord comes The Lord our God comes and does not keep silent. Yavo is the cow imperfect, third masculine singular from bo. And then he does not, yecharash, from charash, to keep silent, is the cow imperfect, third masculine singular from charash. And a fire before him devours. Tohel is from achal, to devour. And notice it's a cow imperfect, third uh, feminine singular from achal. So a fire it devours before him, and round about him, uneshvivav, it storms mightily. It is mightily storming. Here we have sa'ar, to storm, a nifal, uh, perfect, third feminine singular from sa'ar. And so we're seeing God likened to flashes of fire, peals of thunder, and he's going to speak against the hypocrisy and things that are going on. In spite of the sacrifice, there is not the life following. It's sort of like there used to be a statement: uh, you don't walk. You have the talk, but you don't walk the talk, something like that. And I think we're seeing that here. So then he goes on, Yikra el hashemayim me'al, but el ha'aretz ladin amo. He calls unto the heavens from above, and unto the earth to judge his people. Yekra is the cow imperfect, third masculine singular from kara. So he calls unto the heavens from above, and unto the earth to judge his people. Ladin is from the middle weak verb din. It's a cow infinitive construct here. And so God is the judge, and he's calling to his people now, and they are actually going to be in a courtroom where he is the judge and they are the defendant, is the thought here. And this is something that we have throughout the Hebrew Bible in different passages, like Isaiah chapter 1, different texts. We see this. We see it in Deuteronomy, where God, I believe it's 32, where he is the judge again, calling Israel into court. And we see the same theme actually in the book of Romans, where Paul sets forth God as the judge and all mankind, all humankind guilty before him. So then we move on in verse 5. Isfuli chasidav korate veriti ale zavach. That is, gather to me my saints. That is the people of Israel at this time. Isfu is from Asaph, to judge. It's an imperative, a cow imperative, masculine plural, from Asaph. So gather to me my saints, the ones who make my covenant. Notice korate is from karat, to cut a covenant. And here we have a cow participle, nominative, masculine plural, from karat. The ones who cut my covenant upon or by sacrifice. And we could be looking at Exodus chapter 24, where there was a sacrifice when God first gave the Torah, the law. And this could be going back to that passage or that context. And also, there is the picture of God and fire coming from before him. And then in verse 6, he says, Vaya Gidu Shamayim Sidko. The heavens declare his righteousness. Ki Elohim Shofet Hu Selah. For God, he is the judge. Selah. Yagidu is from Nagad, a Peinun verb, and it's a Hifil imperfect, third masculine plural from Nagad. Notice here the noon in this Peinun verb has assimilated into the Gimel. Yan Gidu became Yagidu. And the AI vowel pattern is indicative here of the Hifil stem. So the heavens declare his righteousness, for God is the one who judges. Shofet is your cow participle, masculine singular from Shaphat. And then he's going to go on in verse 7 and talk about how sacrifice is not something that you can have as a substitute for your life. And I'll just read that first verse in verse 7, and we'll actually begin the next movement where God is saying, I don't need sacrifice. I have enough animals. What I need is your thankfulness and your obedience. Obedience to obey is better than sacrifice, and we see this in Samuel. So Shem'a Ami ve'adabera Yisrael ve'ida bak Elohim Elohecha Anochi. Hear, my people, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against you. God, your God, I am. Shem'u is from Shama, to hear. It's the cow imperative. And so hear, my people. Hear, O my people, and I will speak. Adaberu is from davar, to speak. It is your PL imperfect, first person singular from dabar. So hear, O Israel, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against you. Veha ida is from the root ud, to testify. It's the imperfect. I'm reading this as a Hifil imperfect, first person singular from ud. I will testify against you. God, your God, I am. I am your God, and I'm going to testify against you. And so he begins, verse 8. I'll try to go on till I hit about 15 minutes, and I think I'm going to stop. Lo al zevachecha ochichecha, v'ol lotecha lenegdi tamid. Not for your sacrifices will I reprove you, and your burnt offerings are continually before me. Here, ochichecha is from yachach, to reprove. We have a Hifil imperfect, first person singular from yachach, to reprove. So I will not reprove you for your sacrifices. They were evidently doing that. And your burnt offerings are continually before me. You're continuing to offer your burnt offerings. However, I don't really need that. Notice verse 9, Yahweh says, Lo ekach mibetecha far mimich leotecha adudim. I will take no bullock out of your house, nor he goat from your fields. In other words, I have my own. I don't have to take it from you. Lo ekach is from lakach, to take. It's a uh, imperfect, a cow imperfect, first common singular from lakach. So I will not take from your house a bullock, nor from your folds he goats. For every beast in the field is mine. Ki li chol chayato ya'ar, behemot beharare aleph. Or be'are, I guess we could render it here, aleph. For every beast of the field is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills, on the hills of 1,000. I remember a song when I was a boy. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, the wealth in every mine. And certainly the hymn writer or the songwriter was no doubt thinking of this when he wrote those words. And so he continues, I don't need your animals, I have many, I think he's saying. Yadati kol of harim, and I know all the birds of the mountains. Vatzin sadai imadi, and the wild beasts of the field belong to me. So I know them intimately. I don't need your animals, I think is what he's saying. He's not decrying sacrifice, but without reality, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want, can I say, hypocrisy. Yadati is the cow imperfect first common singular from yada. So I know intimately all the fowl of the mountains and the wild beasts of the field. If I were hungry, im erhav lo omar lak, I would not tell you, for the world is mine and its fullness. Ki li tevel u meloah. In other words, I would not need to tell you, for the world is mine and all its fullness. I have all the animals I need. What I'm looking for is life, I think he's saying, an application of true religion. If I were hungry, erhav is the cow imperfect first common singular from ra'av, to be hungry, then I would tell you, Omer is your cow imperfect first person singular from Amar. But I'm not hungry, for the world is mine and its fullness. Do I eat the flesh of bulls? Ha'ochel batsadai abirim v'dam atudim eshteh? Or do I drink the blood of goats? Is really that something that I really need? What he wants is their gratitude and a life of obedience to him. And here we have eshteh is from shata, to drink. It's the cow imperfect first common singular from that root. So sevach le Elohim todah, offer to God thanksgiving. V'shalem le'elyon nedarecha, and pay your vows to the Most High. Shalem is the PL imperative masculine singular from shalom, to pay. So offer, what he wants is your thankful heart and your vows, pay to him and don't practice uh, hypocrisy, but bringing all your sacrifices. I think that's in the background here. And then he continues, verse 15. Vekara'eni b'yom sarah, and call to me in the day of trouble. Achaletcha u techabedeni, and I will deliver you, and you will honor me. Just a couple things here. Call upon me. Kara is your cow imperative masculine singular, followed by your first person singular pronominal suffix in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you. Halatz, to deliver. This is a PL imperfect first person singular from halatz with your pronominal suffix second masculine singular in the cha, and you will honor me. Utechabedeni, from kavod, to honor. You have here a PL imperfect second masculine singular from kavod, followed by the pronominal suffix first person singular. So basically, if you pray to me and show me gratitude, then I will answer your prayer. And Jesus often encourages in the Gospels that we should ask and pray, and that he always is speaking about obeying what he said. It's not just hearers of the word, but doers of the word. And this is what I see this psalm to be about.